Så 40 år gamle venner du vet på internett.
Nei, men jeg kommer til å mute deg hvis du sier ett banneord.
Ja, sier voff. Voff, voff, voff. Og ja, sier voff.
Ok,
Nå ble det band!
jeg tror jeg bare muter deg i stedet, jeg. Sånn. Da slipper jeg det problemet.
Så jeg driver og
Jeg hører akkurat moren min bare...
ræler sånn for drittungene.
Jeg blir invitet av en streamer med andre.
Hva sa du?
Jeg kan invite han, og så kan han... Å, vent, han invite meg, jeg tror det.
Les bare...
Hei.
Hei.
Jeg streamer. Og vennen min skal streame med meg. Vi skal gjøre kreativt med viewers. Så...
Ok.
Skal du joine?
Bare join meg.
Hva?
Joiner du meg da? Join meg! Join meg! Vær så snill. Bare join.
Jeg driver...
I am going to go insane if you don't let me do my stuff, Elon.
Hello? Can you hear me? I'm under...
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the workshop. It's fantastic to have you here because today I want to talk about what it is that you need to do 25 to 100 times once you've first got set up in your backyard. You've got yourself a little bit of instruction. What can you do to making material thickness? Now, a lot of you guys may have seen me do this before, which is great, because we then go to the near side of the anvil, and what we're doing is we're creating opposing two-sided tapers, and this is a technique that I learned from Brian Brazil, and it's a wonderfully good technique to practice so that you can get your hammer control down. We work that near side of the anvil. Don't worry about it bending. Keep the bar parallel to the ground. You see, when that bends up, the instinct is for us to lift our arm up so that it's then flat on the anvil again. The result of hitting here with the round side of the hammer is that we're pinching the top side a little more, and so it pulls this leaf blob up off the anvil, and it means that our brain is going, oh wait, hang on, I need to make that level. I need to make that level. The trouble is that as we then lower this leaf blob down to try and satisfy that urge to make it level, it then opens up another gap, which means that we then make a worse bend. The key when you're forging is don't worry about what the metal is doing, especially in a step like this. Just keep your bar straight. Keep your feet horizontal. Don't lift up, don't lift down. The same thing happens on the power hammer. I see people getting under the power hammer for the first time, or maybe not the first time, and they're feeding in, and the material is developing a curve, and they instinctively, I did this too when I was starting, you instinctively lift up to try and get rid of the curve. It accentuates the curve. It makes it more so. And these are little tricks that you pick up with repetition and doing it more and more and more again. So as I take another heat, I can keep working it, and I don't worry about it being bent up, because when I go to the next side, it straightens itself out anyway. We hit that blob, and we work it back. Now I want what's called a reverse taper. That is a reduction in material, reducing itself towards my side of the anvil, where I am standing. And so I'm tilting the hammer towards me. And Jimmy, might I say, we have made you a phenomenal hammer. This is just a joy to use. It's lively. Oh, it's lively. It just feels great. I'm very excited to get this to you, Jimmy. So now I'm going to switch from my round side of the hammer, which is more aggressive, to the flat side of the hammer. I'm going to keep working that reverse taper down like so. When I get up to this shoulder, I've naturally got to come back to the near side of the anvil just to clean it all up. And you see, this is where you're going to be learning a lot of fine details with your hammer control. And if you're able to control your hammer to hit accurate angles on the anvil if you're able to control your hammer and hit accurate angles on the anvil. That is a very good skill to have, and practicing it is going to be very helpful. Naturally, at the very outset, the hammer control as well as the willingness to hit hard are going to be the two skills that you're most lacking at the anvil. When you're hitting a big piece of steel, you need to let loose and relax and hit it hard, but when you're hitting a small piece of steel, you need to be very cognizant of the individual hammer blow and reflect on each and every hammer blow to discern what you need to adjust on the next one. I'm going to work the diagonals. I've got more tutorials on all this stuff that you guys can look way back when on the YouTube channel. But you see, we need to be very careful, and it's an easy thing to get carried away and think about it in terms of what am I going to do this heat rather.
Okay.
And this is a great way. My start, what was my start, was making a boatload of stuff like this. Was learning how to make tools.
Okay, yeah.
We're going to keep this super simple. I'm going to take the round side of the hammer, and we're just going to use it as a little bit of a peen. We're going to treat this as a little bit of a minimalist type of thing. We want to see if we can get you some information for you to start practicing things straight away. And so that's the name of this project. So I'm tilting the round side of my hammer here, which is allowing me to get in there and push the material around how I want. It's not as aggressive as a cross peen in the lateral draw, but what it does do is it means that we can make a pretty decent lateral draw without reaching for another hammer. You might only have one hammer, so hopefully this is showing a little bit of the versatility of opting for a rounding hammer. It's one of those things, you can never have a tool that does it all, so you just got to work out what's the best tool for the job, but sometimes you don't have the luxury of picking the best tool for the job, so you just try and get it done anyway. I have not made a leaf like that in a while. So this bar, this 10mm square bar, you're gonna be able to buy a 20-foot length of this stuff for like 15 bucks, 20 bucks. Inexpensive. Steel is inexpensive. And the great thing is that we have used about an inch of material for this particular project, which means that the amount of cost for getting a huge amount of time to practice is super duper small for a project like this, which is why I want you to do simple projects like this as you're getting into it, because it's only costing you your time, but you're going to reap the rewards in terms of your ability to tackle projects afterwards. The material is so inexpensive, and taking a weekend or two to make 100 little leaf keychains that may just sit in a box forever. I mean, I've got stuff that I made that's just sat in boxes, from way back when I started. And that's fine, you don't need to sell it, but what you do need is you need the practice. And what I want is for you to make 100 of these things. Okay, maybe you make 25, whatever. You might get bored. But make more than the point where you get bored. But I want you to make a whole bunch of them and then eventually get far better than I am at making them, because you'll have practiced. Little rung penny scroll. Another top tip, know where you're putting your hot material. I was about to do this with my tongs, but I realized, you know what? I know a lot of people are getting daunted by the amount of tools that you need, so I'm just gonna take some tools that you can find at any hardware store to do this. Everybody's got a pair of pliers and a pair of needle nose pliers, and every hardware store sells them. You can do a lot with basic tools. Don't be daunted about the fact that you don't have tools, just make do. Needs another heat. Of course, it's not as good as a pair of blacksmith tongs, and you should absolutely grab yourself a pair of blacksmith tongs. Buy them, find some place that sells them. There are plenty of online stores that sell blacksmith tongs. Get some. But when you're starting out, basic tools like this can go a long way to helping you learn the requisite skills to do more and do more and do more. Okay, now I'm going to take a little wire brush, give that a brush. Okay, maybe you don't have one of these. That's fine. Every hardware store sells a little thing like that. And I used one of these things forever until I finally got one of these Farrier's block brushes. And there we go. We've made a little leaf keychain. But don't just make 25 or 100 of them. You want to be doing this. You make it, maybe you want a second, maybe turn the forge off for a second, just so, get a little peace and quiet, and you give yourself a minute to 30, you know, a minute to 2 minutes. And you set that thing down, and you put aside the excitement for just having made something that's rather cool, and you go, right, what can I improve upon on this? Let's have a look. These shoulders are not lined up nicely. I slipped my shoulders when I was working them at the very get-go, which means that I need to be much more careful to keep my shoulders lined up. Point number 2, this side here swells out much more than this side here, and I have an errant hammer blow here in the middle. I need to be more careful with my hammer control to make sure that I don't get an errant blow and to make sure that I evenly pull out this material. Part of why this has happened is the shoulders are misaligned, which means that this is angling itself upwards more and just making it all look twisted. You can see the result of the shoulder misalignment here too. I like that point. That point is good. I don't want it to be much pointier than that, otherwise it's going to be kind of a little dangerous to have as a keyring. In fact, that might be a little bit dangerous too in terms of sharpness. That didn't close up. I should have made sure to close that up fully. And if there's ever a little spring in a piece that you make, if you heat it up and you hold it, you know, you put it in the forge, let's do it. If there's ever a little spring in a piece like that and you want to close it, all you got to do is get it warm, hold it closed, and then cool it off. This is mild steel, so we're not going to do any damage by quenching it at all. So I can just cool that off like this, and then it gets it closed. And it didn't close it. Damn it. Here we go. Take 2. See if it works this time. Wasn't hot enough the first time. Now we have it closed up. Hey, another thing to look at. This could be rounder. You could have done a better job with that. It's rather square to the leaf. The penny scroll looks good. From the rear though, it does still look a little funky and a little bent over to one side. There is something really exciting about the way that I am learning knife and sword making, which is taking on projects that are far out of my comfort zone.
What is going on, YouTube? It's your boy 72. What it do? Now listen, the other day I posted a video about how to see people through builds by holding out whatever build. Anyway, watch the video, okay? It's a good video. It's a really good trick. And just to show how good of a trick it is, here we're gonna be watching Benji Fishy use my trick days later with Mr. Savage in the Aqua Nyrox Cup to get him a free kill. So I'm just saying, if you're not already subbed, if you haven't already liked the video, I mean, please, go check it out for yourself. The tricks work. That's all I'm saying.
We cap your cap.
No. 4.544.
I think we can insert rotate this while these guys are still falling or whatever.
So right here, right, they're rotating, and Benji knows, because of my video, pull out your cone. You can see if someone's, see, look, he's checking to see.
He's in the cone, he's holding it. He's holding the cone. This metal one right below you. He's just in it.
Savage, absolutely stunned, has no idea how he knows. Thinks Benji's cheating, but he's fine with it, because look at this.
Holy
free
fuck.
kill.
I've just, I forgot his video, I watched, was it Fresh's? Oh, I can't remember.
Fresh's.
No, it was 72 hours and just got us that kill.
Thank you,
72
Benji.
hours, thank you, bro.
Yes, of course, bro. Anything for Benji, you know that. The guy's the GOAT. But it doesn't mean this old man
To explain to you.
can't. Oh,
Look,
here we go.
Look, I'm holding this. Look, so hold out your cone. Hold out your cone and like look and hover over my cone that I'm holding. No, hover over
Kan vi
my
spille
cone.
trio? Ja, jeg vet at du
Savage.
You see
streamer.
like the lock
Jeg ser
button
på
on my
streamen
cone?
din.
Like hold your cone out. Hold your cone out.
Savage?
And then
Skal jeg vise deg hvis du ikke tror på meg? Jeg har jo skrevet.
Savage wants nothing to do with this, man. See? It's hard to explain, but my
Kan vi
video,
spille
hey,
trio?
So we send that to the top.
These zones are gonna be bugged.
freaking nailed it.
Kasper?
Ja?
Kan du ta på trio?
Ja.
Legge. Du vet streamen din legger helt sykt.
Ja, jeg vet det. Derfor jeg skal
Når man ser på.
pause.